Hello and thanks for watching our YouTube channel. This is Spencer with Computer Advantage, and today we are in our home synergy room at Computer Advantage ready to unbox our very first Apple HomePod. So let's go ahead and get started and see what's inside. So here's the HomePod box, and it's pretty typical Apple, very clean looking. It's got really small print on the requirements and everything. So it is important to note that it does let you know that it does require an iOS device running iOS 11 to use it and set it up. So just make sure you have a new phone, iPad, or iPod Touch that can run iOS 11. So I'm going to open it up. We get the cell phone off. It falls down pretty nice. And I'm going to just pick up the top here. And there is the HomePod. So let's check it out and see what we can find in here. So this is the space gray model. The power cord is attached to it, so it does not come out, which I could see that being a potential issue for some people, but probably not a big deal most of the way. And here it is. It's probably a little smaller than I would have expected. And, here's the bottom. It has the Apple logo on bottom. It does have two little holes in the molding down there. And this is the top of it. So there's really not a lot in the box. It's pretty simple. We just open up the HomePod and the cord's attached. In the bottom of the box, we have the little Designed by Apple in California, of course. And inside we have our instruction manual, and we get one Apple sticker. So you don't get two with the HomePod, unfortunately, but you do get one. And then we just have a couple pieces, a quick setup walking us through setting it up on our iOS device. So next up, we'll go ahead and get this puppy turned on and see what we can do with it. All right, so the HomePod is unboxed, plugged in, ready to go. The light on top is pulsating white, which means it is ready to pair to our iPhone or other iOS device. Again, you just want to make sure that you're updated on the device itself. So as of today, which is February 9th, 2018, official launch day in the United States, you want to make sure you're at 11.2.5 is the current version. So you want to download that before you try and set up your HomePod. So I'm going to take my iPhone and I'm going to get it near my HomePod. In the instructions, it does say you want to be within 2 inches for it to work. So I'm just going to go ahead and move my phone within range of the HomePod, and we'll open it up. And it automatically shows the screen to pair it, much like an Apple TV or AirPods. If you set up either of those, it's going to be a similar setup. So I'm going to tap on Setup. And I'm going to get a dreaded message of two-factor authentication. So what we need to do is we need to add an additional layer of security to our device, because HomePod can access sensitive information like contacts, calendars, HomeKit accessories, and things like that. So that can be door locks, it can be lighting control, cameras. So we want to make sure we add that extra layer of security to our device and our Apple ID. So we're going to take a minute and set that up. And if you get this message, just follow the instructions and set it up as you go. So, all right, so we got two-factor authentication turned on our iPhone and our iCloud account, which is important for security reasons. And we also noticed that some of our iPads were asking us to set up the HomePod, even though they were more than 2 inches away, but our phone still wants to be very close to the HomePod before the screen pops up. So your mileage may vary on distance there. So we're going to go ahead and hit setup. So after a couple minutes of waiting, we got a lovely message that setup failed. So a lot of people online are actually having the same problem. So we're going to try a few simple things and see if we can get it working. The first thing we're going to do is just restart the phone. Step number one, all troubleshooting, especially with iOS devices, is reboot. So we're going to give that a shot. Other people have said they've disabled firewalls, they've messed with the HomeKit app, the Home app that runs HomeKit. Hopefully we don't have to go to any of those extreme measures. Hopefully a reboot of the phone is going to be all we need. So it's going to take us a minute here and we'll be back to finish up. All right, so we still failed. So we'll just do some more troubleshooting and let you know what solves the problem. So this is always the fun things about doing things on launch day is there's always going to be a few bugs. And as early adopters, you just have to know that's going to happen. If you wait, I'm sure if we wait a couple days even, we wouldn't have these kind of issues, but of course we want to get started right away. So we're going to figure out what's going on and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Okay, so we think we found our problem. If we open up the Home app on our phone, it just keeps loading and loading and loading and never goes anywhere after several minutes of waiting. But if we grab our iPad, it seems to be working. So we're going to grab our iPad and see what's wrong with this later. So we're going to set that to the side, and we'll bring in our trusty iPad mini. And so I'm going to hold our iPad mini close by, and now we get the notification on the iPad to set it up. So we're going to tap on setup. And right here it asks us which home we want to connect it to through the HomeKit interface. So we have 2 homes set up on our account. So we're going to pick the Home Synergy Center because that's where we're at today. And press continue. And then what room is it in? So we got all these different rooms in here that we can pick from. So we'll pick home theater. And personal requests. Use this HomePod to send and read messages, reminders, create notes, or more. You must use your home app on your iPhone to enable personal requests. So we'll hit OK. And do you want Siri? Yes, of course we want to use Siri. And after reading all the terms and conditions, we will agree. And then we're going to transfer our settings. So we're going to do location services, our account information for things like our iCloud account, our music account, Siri, everything like that is going to transfer over. So we're going to hit transfer settings. It also transfers our Wi-Fi information. So we'll hit next. So now it says HomePod setting up, and we heard some music coming out of the HomePod, letting us know that it's doing something. Finally, after a couple attempts, we're making some progress. So this process will take a few minutes, I'm sure, and it's still pulsating. The lights on top is still pulsating. And let me just type in our password here. So it's asking for our Apple ID password. So we're here waiting for it to finish. We typed in our Apple ID password, and then it's still going through the setup process. So we're just waiting patiently, maybe not so patiently, for it to finish. So we'll just keep waiting, and we'll let you know when it's ready. All right, so we've done a few things. We have rebooted our network. We've done a few things, and hopefully this will work this time, because we got all the way to the last step last time, and it just never did anything after waiting over 10 minutes. So we went ahead and restarted. We did restart the HomePod as well. So we're going to try the setup again. So we're going to tap on setup, and we're going to pick the right home. So if you don't have 2 homes in your HomeKit app, in the Home app on your phone or your iPad, then you probably won't get this message, but we do have 2 homes set up. So we're going to hit next, and we got to pick a room. And then the personal request screen is different. If you're setting up on a phone, it's going to ask you to have permission to access this information from your phone. So things like your contacts, your messages, and your reminders, your notes, things like that will be shared to the HomePod. So if you are in a home that has a lot of people, someone can listen to your messages from your phone through the HomePod if you turn that on. So you want to think about if you want that turned on or off at this time. Because we're on an iPad, it doesn't give us that option. So we're just going to press OK. And then we're also going to sync to it. So we're going to, obviously, Siri's fine. We're going to agree to the terms and conditions. And then transfer settings is going to transfer Apple ID information, Apple Music information, Wi-Fi information. So the Wi-Fi password will get transferred from our device to the HomePod. So we're going to go ahead and transfer those settings over. And we get that tone. We've got this once before, and so hopefully we make it past this time. Now it was interesting, I did just get a try again screen that flashed for just a second and then went back to the setting up screen. So that's at least something.
Hi, I'm Siri. Welcome to HomePod. You can't tell, but I'm waving. To get my attention, say, "Hey Siri, let's try it." Say, "Hey Siri, what can you do?"
Okay, so right now we have it working, and we can see on our screen, it's walking through its little setup. So I'll say, "Hey Siri, what can you do?"
I can do lots of things, like turn on the lights, give you a news update, and tell you about the weather. Now you try. Say, "Hey Siri, play some music."
Hey Siri, play some music.
Okay, here's a personal radio station built just for you, starting with Jason Mraz. Remember, anytime you have a question, just say, "Hey Siri."
This is the billing office for Tri-City Medical Center, calling for Jason Mraz. If you are Jason Mraz, press 1 now. If Jason is not available, press 2.
Hello, tell me you know. Yeah, you figured.
So here's our music. Hey Siri, turn it down. Hey Siri, turn it down to 1. She didn't quite get that. There are volume controls on the top of the HomePod as well, so we can tap it down, tap it up a little bit. Hey Siri, turn it off. All right, so the music's off. The setup, I'm just going to tap done. I imagine the setup is going to be done now. So that's the HomePod. We're going to play around for a few more minutes, but I want to show, to control the HomePod, you're going to go to the Home app on your iPad or iPhone. And this is where you can control the HomePod. And so right here, my HomePod will be one of these devices here. So it's grayed out because it's off. If I tap on it, it turns it on and just plays what we last played. If you hold down on any HomeKit device, you'll get your options for that device. So we can go to details, and this is where we can change settings on the HomePod itself. So we can change the room. We can include it in our favorites in the app, but down here, this is where we can change, what kind of content we want, if we want our listening history to be used, all these things, changing the Siri voice. So this is where you control your HomePod. There's no separate app like on the watch. You have a separate app for the watch. Well, the HomePod doesn't have its own app. It's controlled right within the Home app of your device. So if you don't have any home accessories already from Lutron or Ecobee or iDevices or any of those other companies that make HomeKit accessories, maybe you haven't ever spent any time in this app. Well, you're going to start, and maybe you'll want to come see us for some of those other things as well, because once you start getting smart home devices, you probably don't want to stop. So this also allows you to remove it. So that's basically resetting the HomePod back to factory defaults if you wanted to move it to a different location or something like that. So let's go ahead. We'll start. We'll do some tests with some music and some control and see what we can find out about it. Okay, so we've played with the HomePod for a few minutes. We've asked her a few questions and kind of got a feel for what Siri can do on the HomePod. So, hey Siri, what's the weather?
It's currently clear and 78 degrees in Sarasota. Expect mostly cloudy skies starting in the afternoon. Temperatures are heading down from 78 degrees this afternoon to 69 tonight.
So she can do things like that. Hey Siri, tell me a joke.
If I told you a joke in my language, I'd have to explain it.
So she's trying to be funny, I guess. Siri, play Imagine Dragons. Hey Siri, play Imagine Dragons.
Okay, here's some Imagine Dragons, picked just for you.
When the days are cold and the cards all fold and the saints we see are
Hey Siri,
made of...
Next song. So she's pretty good at the audio control within Apple Music. Hey Siri, turn it down a lot. Siri, hey Siri. Hey Siri, turn it down some more. So you can tell, obviously when you're sitting right here, it's easy to press the buttons on the screen, but when you're across the room, obviously it's going to be nice to be able to do that. And if you just tap where the buttons aren't, it will turn the music off or turn it back on. So if you don't hit the plus or the minus, this whole thing is a touch sensor, so you can control the speaker that way. So it is nice if you get a phone call or something you're close by, you can do that. So I'm going to pause it. All right, so that's a quick summary of setting up the HomePod, a few things it can do with Siri, playing some music, telling us about the weather. If you want to synchronize it with your reminders and messages and notes and things like that, you can do that from your iPhone. But just remember that anybody that is in the room can talk to Siri and can read that information. So it would be, just think about what you want to share and let other people in the home be able to get off your phone before you set up that personal information. But in other words, enjoy it. The music sounds great, and we are going to do another video comparing it to other smart home speakers, so make sure you check that video out. So again, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. This is Spencer with Computer Advantage, signing out.